I see all of you gathered here, and I'm listening to what you're talking about, and that's exactly what I came here to tell you about our organization. We're called World Ebony Network. I met you the other day. World Ebony Network is the mission of the organization is to strengthen the Black family and to appreciate the good aspects of other heritages. The reason we have this organization is because of what you're talking about here today. See, I was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, and at the age of 4, went back home to with my parents to Nigeria, or went home. And so when I got there, which was post-war at the time, I'm 47 years old, I had to learn the language. And this was someone with an American accent trying to fit into Nigeria. At that time, it was post-war. And the way that they celebrate you when you come back is that they literally bring the masquerades and things like that and celebrate you. And for me, at the time, I was like the manifestation of this white man. Because at that time, they didn't have, in the particular villages that you come from, they didn't have so many people who went out at the time. So we were celebrating. But one of the things that they did was there were all these little kids running around and following me, and a lot of them were naked. And then they were like, once I say something like, oh, let's go see the white man's fecal matter or that kind of thing. And then they would add Beke. Who's Igbo here? Okay, so my name was Ezi Beke, and that's what they still call me to today. But right now, when they call me that, I don't like that, because I know better. Because now that I'm back to the United States, and I see me trying to also fit into the United States, I see sometimes at work, when I come with my my values and morals, it's sometimes a negative for me. Well, so they think. Maybe they might look at me as, so she's so calm, and they're like, oh, you're so calm. And it's not that I'm calm, but it's because I was taught not to speak, but you have to watch. You go into somewhere, you're not at all aggressive as opposed to what they teach you here, and things like that. And then, when you do that, you're able to study the environment, and you're able to deal with the things that come to you, or the things that you experience. So those things were things that I encountered, and then with marriage, divorce, and trying to fit into the society. And then also amongst your people, the community, they see you as some obnoxious person because they feel like, oh, she is not coming to our meetings. And so when they say to me, come join our meeting or things like that, I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with something. But then I start reminding them that their own children are not in the meetings too. And I tell them, because you're not reaching out to me and asking me how I'm surviving someone who's going through something, through a single mom with 3 children and all those kinds of things, nobody would say to me, how are you managing? So I say to them, it's important for you to deal with those kinds of things about me. When you bring me in, then you begin to understand what I'm dealing with so that I can be able to come to you. And I said, and a lot of you here, I speak on behalf of your children. So anyway, now we're beginning to have a great relationship between I and them. But then there were so many things that I had to deal with. I had to teach my children how to speak the language. How many of you know Tiffany Agina here?
I know her. She came to the
Yeah, so Tiffany is my daughter. She's here in your school. And so Tiffany speaks the language very well. And she also has her other siblings. And sometimes we go through the culture, it's like we're contesting, it's conflict between, oh, they're not doing this in the other family, and then you're so strict and stuff like that. But I know the value of what I was taught, and I don't see that amongst ourselves, the way we carry ourselves. The fact that if you are a female, doesn't mean you have to come and be as, out like your male counterparts. There's a role that females have to play. So I decided that it would be a great idea for me to create a platform where I would be able to help young boys and youth such as yourself to be able to appreciate your heritage, as well as go and take care of your resources that are back in Africa, because if you don't do that, somebody else will do it for you. So there's so many things that we have created in our organization, World Ebony Network. We have structured it in such a way that it addresses the way of life of people. And the way of life of people are, the way academia explains it, there are 9 areas. There is education. Black people learn in a certain way. There is international relations. You've got to know what's going on. You have to know who's going out there and giving you non-genetic modified organisms, because a lot of you have relatives there. You have to know what's going on over there with them, with your family. And then, you have to know, be able to educate them and tell them, look, this culture that you're trying to copy is not really, the best for you. What you have is much better. And so there's also the government relations. If you're in a certain place, you have to understand their culture. You are here in America. Understanding their culture doesn't mean you have to embrace it or compromise yourself. So we have events where we are partnering with the police department here, and then they have a program like the Law on You. And you have to understand, there's so many laws here in America, you've got to know what they are, because if you don't, you'll be behind bars. Being an African is not an excuse. I know one family who, when some boy killed his mother last year, a Nigerian boy, and this other lady was dealing with her own daughter who was pregnant, who was at the Eastern Shore, and police people they went to play basketball, and the police people said leave. They didn't understand Eastern Shore. They knew about this culture. They would have known that black people don't go to Eastern Shore. You see, so when they got there, and at the end of the day, this pregnant girl had to be behind bars with the other kids that they got. And the other kids were saying,